You're listening to the Deep Dive Podcast. If you're enjoying this series, please consider liking and subscribing to stay in the know. Today, we're diving deep into AI music. It's a story about a startup called Sunno and a battle that could reshape how we think about creativity and copyright in the digital age.
It really is a fascinating case. It touches on some, really fundamental questions about the future of art and technology. How do we balance the rights of human creators with the incredible potential of AI to generate new forms of creative expression? That's what we'll be kind of exploring today.
Yeah, we're doing it by digging into some really interesting sources.
Yeah.
Court filings, news articles from Rolling Stone magazine, and even blog posts from both Sunno and the record labels. We want to give you the full picture, all the different perspectives so you can understand what's at stake.
Yeah, it's important to have all that context, especially since this case has implications that go way beyond just music. Like, what happens here could set a precedent for how AI interacts with copyright law in all sorts of creative fields, Think writing, art, film, you name it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start by understanding what Sunno is and why it's causing such a stir. Imagine this. You have an idea for a song, any song, but you don't play an instrument or know how to write music. With Sunno, you simply type in a description of what you want, the genre, the mood, even the lyrics, and the AI generates a song based on your instructions.
And it's incredibly user-friendly, and it's attracting a lot of attention. Suno already has over 12 million users, which shows you how much interest there is in this technology. And it's not just about creating, generic tunes.
Right.
People are using Suno to turn poetry into song, to experiment with different musical styles, even to bring back the voices of singers who are no longer with us.
Right. I've seen some of the examples online, and it's pretty mind-blowing what people are creating with this tool. It's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with music. But that's also where the controversy comes in. The major record labels, represented by the RIAA, have filed a lawsuit against Sunno, claiming copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The heart of their argument is that Suno's AI was trained on a massive data set of existing music, including a lot of copyrighted songs.
Right.
And the record labels argue that by using their copyrighted material to train its AI, Suno is essentially stealing their intellectual property. They're saying, hey, you can't just feed our music into a machine and then profit from it without our permission.
Right. So it's kind of like a digital version of sampling, but on a much larger and more sophisticated scale.
Uh-huh.
And this raises a really crucial legal question. Is training an AI on copyrighted material considered fair use? The same way, a human musician might learn by listening to and being inspired by other artists.
Exactly. And that's precisely Suno's defense. They're arguing that their use of copyrighted music to train their AI falls into the legal concept of fair use, which allows for limited use of copyrighted material without permission for purposes like criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research.
So they're basically saying, look, our AI is learning just like a human musician would.
Yeah.
It's absorbing musical information, developing its own style, and creating something new in the process. They're even pointing to legal precedents like the Google Books case and the Oracle v. Google lawsuit, where courts ruled that using copyrighted material to create something new and transformative could be considered fair use.
It's a clever strategy because they're framing this not as stealing music, but as AI learning in a way that's analogous to human learning. They're trying to show that AI can be a creative force in its own right, not just a tool for copying or imitating.
But the record labels are pushing back hard. They're arguing that Sunno's use of their copyrighted material goes way beyond fair use. They say that Sunno is profiting directly from their music without their consent, and that this could have a devastating impact on the music industry.
And it's not just about the financial losses, right? They're also concerned about the potential for AI-generated music to, flood the market and devalue human creativity. They're worried that if anyone can create a hit song with the push of a button, it will undermine the value of human artistry and craftsmanship.
So it's this clash of perspectives, this tension between innovation and tradition that makes this case so fascinating and important. On one hand, you have this incredible new technology that has the potential to democratize music creation and open up a whole new world of creative possibilities. And on the other hand, you have the established music industry, which is, understandably, concerned about protecting its artists and its business model.
Yeah, and it's not just about the music industry. This case has the potential to set a precedent for how copyright law applies to AI across all creative fields. What happens here could have a ripple effect on writers, artists, filmmakers, and anyone who creates original content.
It's a lot to unpack, and we're just getting started. So we've talked about the concerns of the record labels.
Right.
But what is Suno doing to address these concerns? Were they just, like, churning out AI copies of existing songs? Or are they trying to foster, genuine creativity?
That's a great question. And to be fair to Suno,
Yeah.
they seem to be taking this issue seriously. They're not just throwing their hands up and saying, hey, it's AI, we can't control it.
Right.
They've actually implemented a number of safeguards within their platform to prevent copyright infringement and encourage originality.
So what kind of safeguards are we talking about? How are they actually trying to make sure that the music created on Suno is, original and doesn't just rip off existing songs?
Well, for one, they've built in mechanisms that prevent users from directly copying copyrighted material.
Okay.
So you can't just take a Beatles song,
Right.
feed it into Suno, and have it spit out an exact replica.
Got it.
They've also incorporated features that encourage users to be more creative and experimental in their use of the platform.
So they're not just trying to, replace human musicians, but to give people new tools to express themselves musically? It's like they're saying, look, we're not here to destroy the music industry.
Yeah.
We're here to expand the possibilities of what music can be.
Exactly. They're emphasizing the idea of collaboration between humans and AI, not a replacement of one by the other.
Mm-hmm.
And, what's interesting is that they're being more proactive about preventing copyright infringement than some other AI music startups out there.
It's like they're saying, we want to be part of the solution,
Right.
not part of the problem.
That's a good way to put it. They're even drawing historical parallels to the record label's initial resistance to new technologies,
Yeah.
like recorded music and synthesizers.
Right.
They're pointing out that innovation often meets with resistance from established players, that ultimately these new technologies can enrich and expand creative possibilities.
It's a compelling argument.
Yeah.
It reminds me of how photography was initially seen as a threat to traditional painting, but eventually became recognized as its own art form.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe AI music will follow a similar trajectory.
It's certainly possible. But even if Suno wins this legal battle,
It doesn't mean all the questions about AI and copyright are, magically resolved.
right.
The broader issue of how copyright applies to AI training data is still very much in play, not just in music, but in other creative industries as well.
Right. This isn't just a music industry problem. We're
Yeah.
talking about a fundamental shift in how we think about creativity and ownership in the digital age.
Mm-hmm.
And the outcome of this Suno case could have a ripple effect across multiple industries.
Absolutely. Think about the New York Times' lawsuit against OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT.
Oh, right.
They're making similar claims about copyright infringement, arguing that using their articles to train ChatGPT was a violation of their intellectual property rights.
So this is going way beyond music.
Yeah.
We're talking about the future of AI in all sorts of creative fields: writing, art, filmmaking, maybe even software development. It's a huge issue with no easy answers. And it's forcing us to ask some really tough questions. In a world where AI can increasingly learn and create like humans, how do we balance the need to protect artists' rights with the potential of AI to democratize creative expression?
It's like we're standing at a crossroads, and the choices we make now will have profound implications for the future of creativity and innovation.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into those philosophical questions,
Right.
let's bring it back to you, the listener.
Okay.
What does all this mean for music lovers and creators in the real world?
Well, for one thing, it means that the music landscape is about to get a lot more interesting
Yeah.
and a lot more complex. We're likely to see a lot more AI-generated music in the coming years. And it will be up to us as listeners and creators to decide how we engage with it.
It's almost like we're on the verge of a new musical era,
Yeah.
and the rules are still being written. And that brings us to the big question. What role will AI-generated music play in our lives
Yeah.
in the years to come? Will we embrace it as a tool for creative expression? Or will we resist it as a threat to human artistry?
That's the question we'll all have to grapple with. And as with any new technology, there will be challenges and opportunities.
Right.
But one thing is for sure, the music industry and the creative landscape as a whole
Yeah.
is about to undergo a major transformation.
So buckle up, listeners,
Yeah.
because the ride is just getting started. And as we dive deeper into this topic, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on AI music? Do you see it as a threat or an opportunity? Let us know in the comments, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.